Run With Chestnut.
Welcome to the Run With Chestnut podcast, where we talk about books, fitness, finance, and anything else on our minds. This is episode 15, lucky number 15. I said that 2 episodes ago, but every number is lucky when you're listening to us because we bring value, we bring humor, we bring blindness, we bring anything else under the rainbow. I'm joined today by, let's start with Melissa calling in from Montenegro. What's up, Melissa?
Hello.
Cool. And Mr. Simon from Brooklyn.
Hello.
Yep, and I am on the west side of Manhattan. I feel like I never say that, so I feel like I should give some context to people. Anyway, today we're going to talk about some more blindness-related tidbits. I feel like we get a lot of questions about both like personally and as a group, as us as a people. We get a lot of confusion around blindness. We get a lot of people not knowing a lot of things. So we're going to talk about some stuff, and as you can see by the title, you probably have an idea of what we're about to talk about. But Simon actually had an idea of this episode, and he came up with some prompts and things. So we're gonna go from there. What's up, Simon? Tell me what you're thinking.
All right, so we're gonna start out talking about flying and our experiences with flying. No, on an airplane. Taking flights.
Simon, you can laugh as if I was actually funny. Not like the fake, No, I'm kidding. It's okay. Go ahead.
Maybe you're not funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to talk about flying in terms of, flying out an airplane, how each of us flew on our own for the first time independently, stuff we can share about flying together, because we have done that as well.
We've gone on quite a few trips together.
Yes, we have.
And I feel like every trip we've been on, there's been something that happens
with a fucking plane.
Sure. Okay. That too. I might need, wow. Okay. That was some pent up aggression, Simon. I did not realize you had that. Wow. I don't even remember. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I don't know where to go from there, honestly. All right.
Listen,
episode's
I got
done.
Food poisoning today, so I'm a little...
Simon ordered some questionable sushi last night.
Yes.
And now things are happening.
Yep.
Bad things are happening with Simon's system right now.
Simon.
Yeah, angry Simon. All right, Simon. Since you're so upset about our flying, apparently, since I also don't remember any of this, lead us off, Simon.
Well, no, it's not that. It's nothing major. It's interesting how I think it was both times too when we flew, or like 2 out of the 3. The announcement was always, "Hey guys, something's wrong with the engine. We're just going to turn off the plane and then turn it back on."
Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember. Okay, now I'm remembering this. Oh man, that's always struck me, and that's not a blindness thing. It's a human thing, right?
Yeah.
If something goes wrong with your DVD player, the first thing you do is turn it off and turn it back on, right?
Yes.
If something goes wrong with your Echo device, you turn it off and you turn it back on. If something goes wrong with your airplane, like I don't want them to turn it off and turn it back on. Be like, oh, it's fixed, guys. Never mind. Like everyone's safe. No one's gonna crash.
Yeah.
As like flying being a very inhuman thing to do. Like we're not meant to fly.
No.
Right? That's just, go on. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So, well, no, it's funny because like we stayed on and we're like, oh, we'll be fine.
Well, we're not going to leave. We're not wimps.
Right. I told other people this. They're like, nope, if that were me, I'd be off that plane. I'm like, okay, well, each of us make our own decisions, to each their own.
Yeah, but I feel like if you leave, you are like, it's a smart thing to, not even if you turn it off and back on, whatever. If you sense something that's unsafe.
Yes.
Is that a word? Unsafe? Unsafe. Yeah. Not safe.
Right.
The smart thing to do is to remove yourself from the situation, right? That's not safe.
But some people just don't do the smart thing. Like
including us.
Yes.
Seeing as
I am not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah. Would you leave, Melissa?
I think I'd be too much of a wimp to leave you guys, but if I was by myself, I think I would.
So everyone's sitting on the plane, your luggage is underneath.
Yeah.
So you'd lose your luggage or like it'd be flying off somewhere else. You would honestly get up, be the only one. That's a lot of social pressure to like fighting against you from doing that.
Well, clearly I wouldn't, maybe because everybody else left.
No one else left.
No one else left.
What?
No, everyone
Why?
stayed. No, everyone because they fixed it according to the announcement
Yeah.
of the nice captain guy. You know, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well
right?
that's nice, but
Yeah.
they didn't know that before they told you they.
No, the
Eh?
airplane is fixed. We took out the batteries. We rubbed it with an eraser. We put it back in, and the airplane's working again.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Yeah. So, all right. So I guess we're all socially conforming wimps. All right, cool. Go on. So, first time flying,
yeah, okay. I guess I'll start.
or first time flying independently, I should say,
Yeah, first
as a
time
blind
flying
person.
as a blind person. Well, it's funny. The first time I flew, actually, let me think. When was Orlando? Yeah. No, the first time I
yeah.
flew on my own without anyone was actually so I flew with you guys, and then I
Yeah.
flew on my own. It's like a month later that I flew on my own.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty interesting, actually. The way blind people fly in general is you would go to the airport, you'd either have someone drive you or you'd take a cab or a train, whatever your means. And then you would...
Or paratransit.
Or paratransit. And do you want to explain what that is?
It's transit for people with disabilities.
Yes.
Which is awesome in theory.
In theory.
Sometimes, let's just say that their schedule of arrival and picking you up is not plus or minus like 5 minutes. It's plus or minus like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Continue, Simon.
You'd go to the airport.
I'm sorry. I need to say one more thing about this because it's very hurtful. There have been rides that they have
detours.
You get a ride and they take you to the destination. And you are the combination of you being so late to that destination and the next ride that was supposed to pick you up from the destination after your appointment is so early that literally the car to pick you up arrives there before you even get there in the first place.
Seriously happened to you?
Oh, yeah, that's happened.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, this has happened.
No.
Not once either. So, moving on, Simon. Go ahead. Continue.
You'd go to the airport.
Yeah.
And then you would find, well, that's what I did at least. I went to the airport. I found a security person. I said, hi, I'm flying to San Francisco, which is where I went. And they said, okay.
You found the security person on this, like the sidewalk where the car dropped you off?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I went inside the airport. And
how did you get inside? How did you find the door? Or did you just like listen?
I just listened.
Okay, and you heard
you
heard like an opening. Okay, continue.
Was it the revolving doors? I'm sorry, but those kind of bring me grief when I can't.
Oh, those revolving doors are like cane snappers.
Revolving doors.
Yeah,
but yes,
stick your cane in there.
They
and
have those giant ones. Yeah, but like they're not like building revolving doors that have like the four sections. They're just like the giant.
Yeah.
It's just like a giant propeller that you get inside. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
And then so a security person. I went inside. I found a security person. I said, I'm flying to San Francisco. And they said, okay, we'll get someone to help you. And so normally what you'd have to do in an airport is wait in a very long line. But if someone assists you, usually, you have an airport person assisting you. You take their arm and they guide you through the security line, through the bag check. Obviously, they take your ID, make sure everything's good. And then if you want to get food, you get them. You ask, okay, before we go to my gate, can we get food? And so that's what happened.
To be clear, they don't.
Yeah, and they spill water on your laptop.
To be clear, they don't pay for your food.
Yeah,
they just take you there. Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you mind buying me some lunch, bro?
Although, no, wait. It's funny that you mentioned that.
Did someone buy you food?
Yeah, let me get there. So we get to our gate, and then so what happens is then you wait for them to announce your flight, and then the attendant helps you get on. Anyway, after I got off the plane, I was very hungry because it was a 5-hour flight, and I had to wait for a bus to take me to where I needed to go. So I'm like, okay, while I'm waiting, why don't I see if the airport security person can help me get some food? And so they took me to this cafe that was meant for flight attendants. I didn't know. And then when I was getting ready to pay, like, no, I got it. It's fine. I'm like, I can pay. Are you sure? They're like, no. This is for flight attendant cafe. I'm like, thank you. And so, yes.
So you got special flight attendant
you were a
food.
flight attendant.
Yes, I got flight attendant. I got it was a burger, actually.
Yeah, was it good?
It was very good.
Okay, so they feed the flight attendants well.
Yeah. And then, and here's the thing. So after I come back, on my way back actually to New York, when I flew back to New York, well, everything was the same. So when I flew back to New York, I found, when you get off the plane, I found a wheelchair waiting for me.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. And then I said, I don't need a wheelchair because people think that if you're blind, you know, you can't walk or it's too long. So they think it's easier to be in a wheelchair to push you around.
Oh, dude, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
To be fair, I also hate this practice and I have my own stories, but I know that they will often argue that it's not about you, it's about the liability, which I guess it is kind of about you, but they're always like, oh, no, it's not that I think you can't walk. It's just that, like, if you trip and you fall, then I have to answer for it. So I'm just going to cover my own butt and put you in a wheelchair without regard for, like, how that comes off to you or anybody else who might be watching or...
Yes, but that's you could say that for any able-bodied person too, right? Yeah. If you're a regular sighted person and you trip and fall in an airport, technically you could sue the airport.
Right.
Not saying if that's right or not to do, but technically you could. So to cover liability, they could mandate that everyone has to use a wheelchair. It's super insane. No, dude, I mean, I'll let you finish telling your story, but like I was getting off a plane in New York and I had a pro triathlon jersey on because it was the day of a race. We were coming back and I had like the podium shirt on, right? Which is like, so I mean, it wasn't gross. Like I showered but I saw the podium shirt. So it literally says like Team USA on the shirt. And I have a bike helmet clipped to my backpack. Right. And like clear, you know, drinking out of like a sports, but like clearly you're a competent. And I don't look exactly people. And this guy's like trying to convince me to sit in this wheelchair because like, no, you had a long flight. So you might be tired. So please sit. I'm like, bro, I had a long flight. So I'm tired. Thus I want to walk. Like that's the reason why I don't want to sit down. It's because I've been sitting for the past 7 hours. Continue, Simon.
Yeah. The lady wasn't very happy with me either. She gave like this, teeth sucking noise at me when I told her I don't need a wheelchair. They took it away and then someone else helped me to the, out of the airport.
Yeah.
So that was my first time flying independently.
Man.
And then I flew with these guys and I just shared the experience of the turning on and off the...
Only when Andrew, you, Simon, and I are together, like, when it's just when it's just two people, that never happens. But something like with the three of us being together, that tends to happen a lot.
Actually, no, I think that happened when you and I flew.
Oh, so it's you that's the problem.
Hey. Oh, but speaking of Andrew, this is going to be a fun one.
Jesus!
when we flew back to...
No, let me paint the picture a second. So we're in Orlando, right? We're coming after a convention. Let's just say the last night of this convention, it gets a little rowdy, right? Things are happening. Things are going down. Andrew has not slept in about 24 hours, maybe a little more. And so the three of us are in one row. And Andrew has the window seat, right? And then next to him is Simon, and I'm on the aisle seat. And Andrew's just like nodding off, right? And he snores loud. So you can hear this dude just completely snoring, just sitting there in place. And this poor flight attendant is trying to explain to us how to use a life vest. So he actually took out a life vest and like, all right, guys, I know you're blind. You can't see the presentation. So like, feel this. Like, this is the thing you pull to inflate. Yeah. He's like feeling. Yeah. And Andrew's just like sleeping, just like with his, he's like, he's holding Andrew's hand, like putting it on the different parts of the vest, and Andrew's just snoring. And then you were talking about his head.
You can do it.
So Andrew he's like, obviously he's snoring, right? And then I'm like, Simon, wake him up. Like, he needs to wake up, whatever. So Simon just like elbows him, and his whole body just like pendulums, bam, like into the wall, and his head like smashes against the window.
Well, no, what happened was, actually what happened was I didn't need to wake him up. More like, we were, on the flight where he was sleeping. Suddenly, I feel his head on my shoulder.
Oh, that's right. Yes. His head is on Simon's shoulder.
And then you're like, just move it away. And so I did.
So he knocks his head and it pendulums from Simon's shoulder over to the other
To the
side
window.
and boom on the window. And then he was like, what happened? What happened?
Oh, Panda.
Yeah, and then the hilarious part is like he woke up, right? Snacks were coming around at that time.
Of course.
The snacks and then starts snoring again after. So, but that's another thing that happens. A lot of times we'll get like alternative descriptions because obviously
Yes.
of the safety procedures. And it could be as little as a flight attendant just like standing next to us, be like, hey, exits 4 rows behind you,
Yeah.
bathrooms 3 rows ahead of you, goodbye. Like it could be as little as that, or it could be
Or
as
to the
hands-on
extent-
as them actually like taking out the vest like I happened this time.
Which that only
showing
happened
up.
that one time.
It's happened. I
For
had
me,
it
at
like
least.
one other time on Delta, but no,
And
yeah,
they
it's
sometimes have Braille.
that's true.
leaflets too,
They do
right?
have Braille leaflets sometimes, like the card that you're supposed to
Oh.
follow along with in the front pocket. Sometimes they give you a Braille one. That's pretty rare. I've only had that happen once or twice. Yeah, that's about it. No, it's funny. Also, I was going back to something you said before, Simon, that if you're with someone, so I believe the term is meet and assist. You guys know if that's true or not?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
it's called a
yes.
meet and assist, where basically
Mhm.
you are met either from the entrance to the plane, or if you're getting off the plane, you're met at the gate where the plane is, and they take you, to the exit or wherever it is. So I rarely have a meet and assist skip me through lines. And I'm pretty sure that's because I don't know if they're not supposed to or if they're just used to not doing that. But for the most part, well, I've like TSA pre-check and global entry, so I go on those lines. But like I've always waited in the lines.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
And again, like you said, we go through security. Like they know what to do. They ask you if you want food. Obviously, I say yes. So we
How
get
much do you think appearances plays a part in this? Because
Yeah.
I don't think
you call him Simon Feeble.
versus a me versus a you would elicit the same reaction. I'm just calling Simon.
That's true. Okay, for those,
Right,
let's do like a
right.
visual description. Simon, describe
Yeah.
yourself, or Melissa, describe Simon.
Yeah. Someone describe me.
Melissa.
Simon is. Oh no, this is not. This is way too much pressure on
He's
me.
all right.
guys.
Simon's like 5'2",
I'm
and he's very
5'3".
all right. He's 5'2" and a half.
Wow.
He's very like slim, or like he's very small, and
But you can
people-
see that he works out.
yeah. Simon's got some stuff going on, but he's very people think, whether correctly or incorrectly, people think Simon needs help
Yes.
when they see him.
Yes.
People generally don't think I need help, which again could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depends on the situation. But it's
Because
just
you're 6
from
foot,
appearance.
what, 4?
I'm 6'5" and 3/4, but who's counting? Say
yeah.
6'5". Here's another actually a funny thing. Do you know about the whole like sunglass psychology, Simon, Andrew?
No.
Melissa. So
Excuse me.
there's a
how
whole
dare you?
So there's a whole thing where if a blind the stereotype of a blind person is the blind person wearing sunglasses, right? Like that's sort of the stereotype that people have in their heads. So there have been a few times that I've heard people say, hey, all you need to do, if you need help, like you could literally be standing there with your cane or a guide dog or anything like that, and like people just keep walking past you, right? The moment you put on sunglasses, people start coming up to you asking you if you need help or not. And when I first heard that, I wasn't really like, I didn't know what, I was just like, whatever. Okay, I guess it's true. Maybe not. Who knows? But the first time I did that, literally 5 seconds after I put the glasses on, someone came up to me. He's like, hey, do you need help? So I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
But anyway, but the point of that is there's an image of a stereotypical blind person image. I feel like that people have. And I think you fit that image a little bit, Simon.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't even wear the glasses. Well,
I
No,
don't.
he don't. Well,
but
yeah, you
I
have glasses,
the
but no.
cane and I'm small.
I think it's, this could be a whole psychological thing, but I feel like part of it is how you hold yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and I still haven't figured out how not to.
But also, I feel like it's gotten a lot better over the years because the instances where people sort of like force their help onto you has gotten a lot less.
How's it?
Like I feel like it happened a lot more frequently when I first started, like when the first few years that I knew you.
Right.
It happened all the time. To the point where now, unless you're like literally just standing there kind of looking clueless, like it doesn't really happen. So it's definitely improved a lot, which is awesome.
I guess I haven't really noticed that, but okay.
But anyway, but all that to say that maybe that's why they're taking you through the lines. I have no idea.
Wait, but no, when we flew together,
they didn't remember.
I don't remember.
Take us through the lines.
I could have sworn that I do not remember waiting in line. I remember waiting in line when we were coming back because there was a bunch of blind people waiting in line.
So going there, we went through we usually go through the priority line, which tends to be a lot shorter.
Oh,
but they don't actually have a skip the lines.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, I was mistaken
that's
then.
Priority line, though, right? Like that's still something.
No, it's good. It's cool.
Wait, do you mean? Wait, hold on. Do you mean like getting on the plane when they're like, please, like anyone with?
No, going through security.
No, going through security.
Yeah.
So I was mistaken then. It wasn't. So I thought because we didn't have to wait, and it was, I thought we weren't waiting in line. So that was my mistake.
Okay. Going on the planes, I mean, honestly, like they say like, oh, first class first. I'm sorry, no, people with disabilities and I think veterans or active duty members or something like. There's a few different groups. Oh no, and people who need the extra time, like elderly people. I think they get called first, right, to go on. So we could technically go on the plane first.
Right.
I have zero desire to do that.
Because we have to sit there for...
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you're basically extending the flight time for another 45 minutes to an hour. Like that, I have zero...
Let's just say sitting on a plane is not... I don't know.
Yeah, so especially, like you just heard, I'm 6'5", 6'6". Like, my legs do not fit in... Basically, I am, like, making friends with my neighbor because my knees my knees do not stay in my... Yeah?
Remember was it the Turkish flight when you were coming
Turkish
here?
Airlines? Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Turkish Airlines is the bomb.com. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, that's not what I remember because you were telling me that your feet were like all the way into Aaron, which is this other person who was traveling, but
yeah, but that's just normal.
It was so short. Oh,
well, I should say normal. It's more common than not. So I just remember the food. Like that food was awesome.
I definitely remember some complaining. Okay, well, I'm glad you liked Turkish.
Yeah, maybe Aaron was the one who's complaining. Like, oh my god, he has his legs in my space.
You suffocated her bunny. Leave Aaron alone.
I don't think I remember a time when I actually liked like hot airplane food.
Bunny, by the way.
But
how much international flying have you done, Simon?
I've only gone to Russia, Israel, and Mexico.
When was the last time you did that?
Ooh, like 7 years ago, maybe.
So the food on international flights, the food's a lot better.
Oh,
like domestic flights, you get like a microwave sandwich
stuff.
That's hot food. International, like the best food.
You get like the chicken and like I got some.
Yeah.
Well,
so the best food I think I've ever gotten on an airplane, or one of the best food, was on my flight to Japan, and that's like a 15-hour flight at least. It's a long flight. You get like multiple hot meals, but you get like a thing of miso soup. You get like rice and sashimi and different things. Like you get a whole thing. It's awesome. Yeah, it's making me hungry right now. Yeah, we all like Japanese food. Anyway, Melissa, any like stories or things flying as a blind person?
This whole thing kind of started as like, oh, your first time flying, but now I've kind of done it so many times that I honestly can't remember what the first time was.
Doesn't have to be first, just like an incident,
Yeah, well, honestly, for me, it's more dealing with the fact that, which is I kind of touched on this in the pandemic episode we did, where I'm obviously from Montenegro, and this is such a small place that somebody is bound to know somebody, and that tends to present big problems, especially since my parents are very connected, I guess we would say. And so there's often somebody who's just like there on the same flight and probably going all the way. So they're like, oh, we'll help you. And it just feels like a very uncomfortable thing when you tend not to have any say. And of course, same thing with the wheelchair. I know one time here, I was trying to tell them that I did not want a wheelchair, and they basically said, I think it might have been Air Serbia that I was flying. They said it's either the wheelchair or nothing, because the only symbol that we have to distinguish someone who needs help on our like systems and websites and all of that is a wheelchair symbol. And so they just basically lump anyone who needs any kind of help with with traveling. It's just all wheelchair now. I don't know if that's changed. I don't know if this is outdated.
When was that? How long ago was that?
Might have been, when did I start flying them? Like 3, 4, no, definitely more. Like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
So you went in a wheelchair?
I honestly don't remember. I think I didn't, but I think that was at the discretion of whoever was taking me, because I was just making such a fuss. And like, I'm normally such a non-confrontative person, but in these kinds of things, I tend to maybe even overreact. But I think that a lot of how people will interact with you goes off of how your family and whoever is with you interacts with you. And that I think is where my struggles lie, because like whatever, my parents didn't really have the training, like, from
neither did mine
when I was young.
Yeah.
And so that time I didn't, but I know that often that's been a debate whether I put this symbol on. And there's nothing wrong with wheelchairs. I think it's spreading misinformation around, and it's just slightly frustrating.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the wheelchair itself is not a big issue. I mean, obviously, like, it's awesome to walk in, but it's like you're. I mean, I hate to use a phrase like standing up for what's right, because I feel like that's such a whatever. It's a big, it's a big word, and this is kind of a small thing. But the point is, like, it's advocacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, advocacy doesn't necessarily only have to be like introducing legislation to Congress, or chaining yourself to like the walls to make a point. I don't know. Like, there are these big statements of advocacy or standing up for what you believe in. Like, that's it could be as small as just denying a wheelchair. Like, just because it's on smaller scale.
Other people, like people to whom this does not happen, yay English, would say that, but isn't it a good thing? Like, you get to ride around in the go-karts and stuff. And like, I think it's just, you never really know what certain people are sensitive to, and if that's not something that they like, then I don't, it could be simple to you, but if it's not simple to them, then why make them do it?
Right. Well, I mean, you letting things continue as they have been, even for the sake of convenience.
Yeah.
If you do that,
absolutely.
They are not going to change. Right. So the only way to change anything, and like, we have a lot of things going on in the country right now. I'm sure even if people listen to this episode years from now, there will still be a lot of tensions and things going on anywhere and everywhere. But I think like the lesson that we've all kind of learned that applies to anything is a great way to have things stay the same is to do nothing. Right. So even if it's some small thing like that, it's making these small nudges in the right direction.
Because for you, it might just be like, oh, I'm just, okay, I'm tired, I want to get to my plane, whatever. But to the other person, you're pretty much reaffirming that I don't want to say that they did something wrong, but that they should have, that this is something that they should do. You know what I mean? That this is
right. Blind people need wheelchairs.
Yeah. So it's just like, if you take it, it's kind of like, yes, I should do this next time too. So there's that's happened. And when we flew, I think ironically, when you and I flew in Montenegro and in Belgrade, they didn't, or maybe in Montenegro they might have offered, and we said no, I don't remember. But I know that when we got to JFK, they were all like, oh, wheelchairs, yes. And they basically ambushed us with them when we got like on the, what is that called? Like the tunnel.
The jetway.
Yeah. So I definitely remember being ambushed right there, and they'd just be like, no, get in. It's like, okay, well, we're holding up everybody now, and there's 2 of us, so I guess.
Right.
I guess we do that
Which,
now.
I mean,
So
we definitely, it was our decision because we did take the wheelchairs. That was totally our decision to take them. Thinking back now, I probably would not have taken them, but and yes, that was totally our decisions to take them, but like that didn't do any good that day.
I see what you mean.
Well, I
yeah.
honestly felt a little pressured because again, like
No, we
it
were
was a
definitely
small
pressured.
space, people were.
We were definitely
Yeah.
pressured, but it was still our
Yeah.
decisions to take them.
Yes. Okay.
You know?
taking responsibility.
So,
for
or just
decisions.
it's just
So, yeah.
ownership of what you did, or what we did. But like if we had not necessarily made a scene, but if we had at least not caved in, those people would have those people have remembered the situation. It might have been reported up the chain of command. Like maybe not, but it might have been. The fact that we just went along with it, like nothing would have ever, like no improvements have happened because of that interaction.
Yeah.
So even when it's not easy, I feel like this is just a reminder for all of us, right? Like do what's right, even if it's not easy. It's kind of, so besides we flew like a few years ago together, Melissa, going to Montenegro like 30 years ago. I've flown a couple times with Simon and Andrew to these conventions. But besides that, the vast majority of me flying and traveling have been for races and training camps and different things like that. Which is kind of funny because again, like you kind of go to those things looking very athletic. And I feel like that has helped a bit in the image of, blind people can't do anything, So like, I feel like part of the reason why I don't get offered wheelchairs and things as often is because of that.
That's true. Do you have an athletic build? What you do, right?
No, I'm pretty flat. I mean, no, I mean,
I don't.
I'm not. So as an endurance athlete, I don't have massive muscles, right? Because that would be kind of productive. So like, but I mean, you could tell, I don't know. I'm in shape, I guess. You kind of have to be if you race.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
you're tall, but you're not like giant. Like I would give you more. You're gonna hate me for this, but I would give you more like a musician, which you are a musician. But I would kind of associate your body more with.
yeah, I look like I could
that,
do a
even
lot
though
of different things.
Okay, all right, you can take it.
I could be like a music. I don't know. I don't feel like if you look at me, it's like, oh my god, he's a 18th century art reconstructor. I don't know.
Oh no.
Um.
Like a rocker. Oh.
So you're saying that I look disheveled and unemployed, is what you're saying? Okay.
I mean, you did have that one face.
What do you call a musician without a girlfriend?
Wait, you told me this joke. Wasn't it?
It's really bad.
About a musician that lives in his mom's basement or something?
No, homeless.
Oh.
That's bad. My old band leader in high school told me that. I
Yeah.
was like, thanks, buddy. Aren't you a musician, by the way? And he was like, yeah.
That's how I know.
Yeah. Cool. So that's flying.